All right. What is going on, Haunt Nation? I am Ant, and this, very excited, very exciting weekend. This is my review of the Dent Schoolhouse for the 2023 season. Dent Schoolhouse, Cincinnati, Ohio, fairly popular. Usually makes top 10 lists, and for good reason. Fantastic haunt. Last year and the year before actually had some issues with the schoolhouse, which I'll address in this video. But needless to say, they have, at least in my experience this year, gone back to what made them great before. Parking is always free. They have I guess some kind of a deal with the local children's hospital, free parking in the children's hospital lot, which is great. Hate paying for parking, especially when they don't tell you about it on the site. Sometimes you get surprised. Cash only can be an issue. Not so much. There is closer parking. I guess independent people take whatever lots they have and then they charge $10 or so for parking. If you don't want to walk, that's up to you. It's a really short walk, not far. A bathroom situation is like most haunts, it is porta potties. When I was there, the porta potty that I used was pretty clean, so that's good. Ticketing is all online, so you get your ticket online. There's a barcode. They scan your barcode at the door. There is a queue outside, fast lane and non-fast lane. I believe the haunt was about $25, and there are a couple dollars in ticketing fees, again, which is typical. I'm not a fan, but it's typical. When I went, we went on a Saturday. We got there early, like for right when they opened. The line wasn't too bad. Line progressively got worse as the night went on. There are line creepers. There are plenty of line creepers. I think there were 4, not including the 2 people dressed as scarecrows, which were scanning the ticket. So we saw the pumpkin smasher. We saw Zuzo, whatever the clown's name is, I never remember. Charlie the janitor, and some kind of porcelain doll ghost thing was in the line. Still, to this year, I have yet to see the school marm, which is usually featured prominently in their ads. Let me know if you see her, because 5 or 6 times I've gone, never seen her once, not a one. So a typical line outside. Once you get to the entrance to the haunt, which isn't really an entrance, they scan your ticket, you go inside. There is the obligatory photo on a green screen, take your picture, and then walk through the continuation of the queue. I have to say, I always have, and I still love their queue from that point. You go into a fenced off area, and they have several really cool carnival type things set up that are just basically there to get you in the mood, separate you from the outside crowd, get you in that Halloween mood. Very, Halloween monster scary type stuff in there. Huge wall of pumpkins that all light up, and then when there's music, the eyes sync to the lights. Pretty cool. And yeah, you just kind of walk through there. Some of the stuff's animatronic, some of the stuff's not. There are a couple little jump scares, which again is pretty cool. Saw a couple people get scared on the line. Then you go from there, they queue people off, then you go to the main entrance of the house where they stop you again, and then into the house proper. One of the issues I had in years prior was they were pushing everyone through. And we wound up in a conga line, and that was definitely a them problem. Not an us problem, not an other patrons problem. 2 years ago, I think it was the worst. Last year wasn't bad. This year, condition corrected. Got to the front, got to the first door. They sent the group in front of us through. A little bit too big of a group, in my opinion, but they kind of pushed themselves through. There was a group of 5 and another group of 4 or 5, and they were like, we're all together, and they pushed their way through the door. And I was like, this is going to be a problem. And it eventually turned into a problem, but not the haunt's fault. Once I got through that front door, they stopped us again at the main door, gave us the typical don't touch the actors, they won't touch you, don't break anything, no pictures, no phones, no flashlights speech, and into the house. just an absolutely beautiful house. The costuming on the actors is fantastic. There are a ton of animatronics. There are a ton of moving things, moving parts. They have some stuff where it's the I'm sure if you've gone to haunts, you've seen some of the, like, the TV screen haunted stuff where ghosts fly from one screen to another, or there's some interactive element with the TV screen. Just an outstandingly beautiful haunt. Like movie quality set type stuff. Things that you'll see, in my opinion, at other really high quality haunts. The upstairs is, walking through the dilapidated school. Then you get to the stairs at the basement, and then you go down into the basement. The whole idea is that the school is haunted. Charlie the janitor used to kill children. And thematically, it all fits. Now, by the time I got up to the staircase going down, we had caught up to the group, that large group in front of us, who were obviously afraid of their own shadows and Scooby-Doo walking, because between the first stop and the second stop, we probably had a minute of time, so a good minute of time between us and that group. I will not blame the haunt for that. I'm going to blame the other patrons for that. That's all on them. And then behind us, by the time we got up to there and down the stairs, another group of younger girls who were just sprinting in complete fear through the haunt, who had caught up to us, and that was it. They could no longer run away. One of them actually ran into a wall at one point in the haunt, trying to get away from some of the actors. All of the actors were costumed appropriately. The makeup was great. The costumes, the actors, the sets were appropriate. The actors were into it. They were really going out of their way to haunt and scare. Up until that point, the timing was great. We were hitting all of the times just right. After that point, not so much. So, like I said, the top floor and the basement have that theme going. Then at some point, you walk through other kind of scenery. The only thing that thematically kind of didn't fit, which is a little bit jarring, was their clown / carnival area. You just kind of come out of like a sewer area that kind of fits in with everything else, and now you're in this clown area, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it. I enjoy the clowns, but after you go into this kind of carnival area, and then you're out of it, and you're kind of back into the school theme again. So it's that part of the haunt is a little bit jarring if you're going for continuity, right? Other than that, again, beautiful. Did not see many of the characters. The only character I saw that was line creeping upstairs that I saw downstairs again was Charlie the janitor, but again, it makes sense because he is the main character for the school. There is another pumpkin character who I saw the area that they had for. Probably my favorite thing, like hanging heads that are carved into like pumpkins and lit up like pumpkins. There's a similar thing done in the second of the new Halloween trilogy. Was it the second or was it the first? No, it was the first, actually. Michael Myers did it with the head of one of the cops. Had him like carved like a pumpkin and lit up. I'm pretty, I can't say they got that from the Dent Schoolhouse, but the Dent Schoolhouse has been doing that for a long time. So that was down there. It's just a fantastic haunt. Definitely worth the $25 or what have you, whatever it is. Definitely worth your time to go to. Now, son of a bitch, my stogie went out. So, after that, they used to have an area outside the school that was lined with school buses, and you'd walk through. There were a couple more scares through there and then out of the haunt. This year, no school buses. Look at me wasting time. Gotta make these videos under 20 minutes. I could really bullshit about this stuff forever. If it seems like I'm rushing through, I am, but it's because I've had a lot of problems uploading things that are just over 20 minutes to social media sites. I'm really thinking about moving at some point to a podcast, maybe throwing up some video, but having the podcast stuff, separate, but with more in-depth stuff on the haunts. We'll see. Again, I don't like telling you too much because I don't want you to know what's going to happen next. I don't want you to, I would never videotape a haunt. I don't want you to see the haunt on video. I want you to go and experience it the way I experience it. Again, we pay for all our own tickets. We don't ask for comps. We don't announce who we are. There's no press. There's no identifying. I'm not wearing like a Haunt Nation t-shirt or anything. So nobody should know who we are. Not so egotistical to think that I'm so popular that people are going to recognize me from the videos. This year, after you got out of the haunt proper, instead of the school buses, they had like a cage maze set up with a lot of soapy bubbles, kind of like you'd see at like a club or a rave or something, like a big bubble room. There were a couple of props in there, but I just really, it didn't make sense to me. It doesn't really fit the theme, but I guess they wanted to do something else on the way out. It did make people uncomfortable. I can tell you that, you know, people did not like walking through the soapy bubbles. I'm guessing there's a claustrophobia thing. So in that sense, as a scare component, I get it. But other than that, not really a horror thing. After that, they lead you straight into their Monster Midway area, which is only accessible after you go through the haunt. There's actually a sign when you come out of it that says you must go through the haunt to get into this area. I think they're limiting themselves. I think they're potentially losing money, but whatever. Lots of photo ops in there. They have a few 3 or 4 5-minute escape rooms also themed around the haunt. Axe throwing. There's a really cool, you know, like electrocution chair that you can sit in, and the actor that's in that section is just absolutely phenomenal. Really into it, goes above and beyond. You know, he should definitely be getting paid more money. Other than that, yeah, just a bunch of different photo ops. There's a section with a history of different haunts that I believe the owners were associated with. It was there last year. I didn't read everything again. There was also a carved pumpkins section with different carvings of, you know, different horror icons, let's say, because some of them weren't like movie monsters. Very cool. Also not real pumpkins. You know, just like you know, fabricated pumpkins carved, which makes sense because to redo those every season would be ridiculous. An area where they had t-shirts and knickknacks and things of that nature. I wasn't really thrilled with the t-shirts they had this year. They were meh. So nothing really I wanted to buy out of that stuff. I did pick up a couple of like horror ornaments. Those are like horror type ornaments for Christmas tree, or if you have a Halloween tree. Because, you know, I saw them and I liked them, and so I got them. Then they had a small stand with donuts. The donuts are great. Really nice, like powdered donuts that they had. They were actually giving out some samples. I didn't wait online to get donuts. I just had a sample because we were trying to get to another haunt that night. Also, they had some food outside by where I guess you can buy tickets, but I mean, I don't know why the tickets are available online on your phone. It's just the easiest way to do it. So, all told, Dent Schoolhouse, solid 8.0 for me this year. Definitely between an 8 and an 8.5. I'm going to settle on the 8 just because of, you know, the you know, I didn't really think about it, but it was brought to my attention that the clown area was jarring, and then when I sat back and thought about it, I was like, hey, you know what, you're really right. It is kind of jarring. It kind of doesn't fit with the flow. It doesn't flow through there in a way that makes any sense. So between that and the bubble cage, whatever you want to call it, I think that detracts a little bit from the pointage, but still 8.0 is still a phenomenal score, especially if you know this channel. We can be very, very brutal, and most of the places really deserve it when we're brutal with them. Yeah, other than that, I mean, just a great haunt. If you get a chance, go see the Dent Schoolhouse, Cincinnati, Ohio. They're running strong. They made plenty of changes, lots of changes from last year to this year, especially downstairs in the basement. Didn't notice too many changes upstairs, but they did change a lot of stuff around, and they always change stuff around year to year. So it's definitely worth going. If you're going to go to a haunt every year, that's probably one to go to, especially if you're in the area. So that said, Dent Schoolhouse 8.0, and there'll be more reviews coming. Until next one, see ya.